All right, a lot of talk about bush. Go for it. Apparently it feels better. I haven't had it in a while. And then later that night, he got drunk and told me he loved me in Times Square. And that kind of freaked me out, but it was okay. We ended up being in love later on, and that was like really fun. Oh my gosh, somebody asked me what my craziest hookup story is. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to what is about to be the juiciest Q&A I've ever done, the most TMI and probably the most fun. So if you're new, make sure you're subscribed, and if you are my father or my sister, please don't watch this video. In this video, we are going to be talking about periods, hair removal, dating, hookups, ghosting, literally everything under the sun. It's gonna be super juicy, super TMI, like I said, so let's just jump right into it. Now, I gotta say two things. First of all, this video is sponsored by Illume, which is a period and vaginal care brand that I love. We will talk more about them later in the video, but make sure you stick around for the sponsored portion. This is not one that you wanna skip. And number two, I would love for you guys to answer one of the questions down below. Like as you're watching, if you're like, this question resonates with me, answer it down below because I feel like I wanna hear your answers to these questions as well, if you feel comfortable sharing, of course. So I went on Instagram and I asked you guys to ask me anything, and oh my God, you really did. I said nothing is off limits and you guys just went for it. Some of them were honestly really inappropriate and they were asked by men, of course. So I had to delete those, but I have a good selection here. I haven't chosen the questions I'm gonna answer yet. I haven't thought through my responses, so just super candidly, we are going to go through and answer them. Okay, so the first question is how to remove facial hair, upper lip specifically. So I think this is different for everybody, but personally, I either do nothing or I bleach it. I've been using the bleach for years and years and years now. It's Jolin brand bleach, and it just lightens your hair. Personally, I don't want to remove the hair there because I'm scared it grows back like bristly or something. And one time I was getting my eyebrows done and she was like, upper lip too? And I was like, no ma'am. So I think it really just depends, but I've heard threading is good. My mom waxes hers or I wax it for her. But I really like the bleach. I don't know, I feel like it's an underrated thing and it doesn't hurt. You don't have to take anything off and like, it's just peach fuzz there. Like, I don't know, it's kind of nothing to worry about. Okay, we're just getting right into it. How to deal with guys that are just interested in hookups, how to navigate dating in Montreal. Okay, guys that are just interested in hookups, you need to communicate what you want. And I suck at this, okay? Like I'm really bad at communicating what I want because it can be super awkward, but you will get the sense when a guy is just interested in a hookup, and don't make the mistake of thinking that you can change them. Like a lot of the times, if these guys are like being fuckboys or whatever, they just wanna hook up, you can't change that about them. So it's always best to just move on before you get your feelings hurt, and you'll be able to suss out the vibe. Now, how to navigate dating in Montreal, sis, I don't know. I am trying to navigate it right now myself. It's super weird, especially because all we can really do are use the apps, but I'm really good, I think, at sussing out people's vibes. If they're giving me a weird vibe, if they ask for my Snapchat, if they ask for pictures, if they ask for anything crazy, I just leave them right away. I'm also like never too shy to end things after a first date because like what's the point of like trying to see if it will get better? It probably won't. Like if you didn't feel a connection, don't waste your time, just move on. My last tip is, especially in Montreal, I know this is different in every single city, but avoid Tinder. Like don't use Tinder. Like that's where the people are just looking for hookups. Like if you are looking for something more serious or just more respectful, personally, I like to use Hinge. Hinge is my favorite app, or else Bumble, but most of the time I just use Hinge. I feel like it has the best selection of people, like you're not getting those creepers, and for the most part, people are a lot more respectful and serious. Okay, the next question is, what do you think about period sex? So I told you guys, we're getting right into it. I think period sex, like I've had it before. can be really fun. There was a Sex with Emily podcast episode about this that I will link down below that goes into like a lot more detail about how period sex can actually be more pleasurable for you when you are on your period. And I just think like there's nothing gross about periods. We really need to move away from that. It's one thing if your partner is actually afraid of blood versus if you or your partner are, if you or your partner are afraid of blood and you don't want to have period sex because of that, that's fine and that's understandable. But if it's more of like a, oh, I feel gross thing, like we really need to move away from that. That being said, I have never and probably could never have period sex with somebody I just met or somebody I'm very casual with. It is more vulnerable, right? So I feel like you do want it to be with someone that you maybe are more committed with, but to each their own. Like if you're super open to it and your partner doesn't care, like go for it. Apparently it feels better. I haven't had it in a while, but apparently it's way more pleasurable. So listen to that episode with Sex with Emily for a better answer to that question. Now, on the topic of periods, I want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Illume. I have spoken about Illume before. They are one of my favorite brands. I am so lucky to be able to work with them because I've been a customer of theirs for a very long time. First thing I love is that they are a small, woman-owned Canadian business. I love them. Second is they are very pro-sex, pro-women, pro-LGBTQ. Like they're just so inclusive. They are a brand that wants to normalize periods, take away any shame from periods, and make it available to make their products available to anyone regardless of how you identify. If you have a vagina, if you get a period, their products are for you. So I think as a society, there's been a huge shift towards more eco-friendly and healthier period products. I have tried the Diva Cup and I hated it. So I was really happy when I found these products, which are the reusable pads. Now, to be honest, I prefer wearing pads to wearing tampons, to the Diva Cup, like I said, because I always forget to change my tampon and that's not healthy for you. So I love these pads. They are reusable. Neither of these have been used yet, so I'm going to show them to you. This is their bamboo pad product. Oh, I thought I grabbed a cotton one, but this is bamboo as well. I love both the cotton and the bamboo. They're really soft. It's made of natural organic materials, so there's nothing toxic near your vagina. It's really, really awesome. They just snap onto your underwear and you wash them off. Illume sells all of the things you need to wash them, and it's actually really, really simple. Now, what I love about it is I feel like it got me more connected with my period because you're not just like throwing it away, being like, ew, this is gross, get it out of my sight. Like, I feel like as I wash my pads, I'm connecting with my period and with my body, and that's important. Like, you're gonna have a period for a very long time, hopefully, and I just think it's not something that we should like shun and like think is gross, rather we should embrace. So I do want to show you guys, but I want to give you a warning before. I'm going to show you one that I've used many times so that you can see how clean they wash up. So skip forward 5 seconds if you don't want to see this, but this is a pad that I have used, and as you can see, there's just some really light staining, but to think this was covered in blood is like crazy. It's super clean. So yeah, that's that about my pads, but they also have some new products that they launched that I've been trying out for the past few months. They call this their V-Care line. So we have a soap, we have a intimate mist, and we have an intimate perfume. Now, these two I really, really like. I can't, however, recommend the soap because I just found myself never using it. Hi, Maggie. I always just use a natural bar soap to wash myself. So I never really found myself reaching for this just because it's not in my habits. The whole point of this line was they wanted to offer a healthy alternative to a lot of the products that are out there with the messaging that vaginas are dirty or smelly or whatever. Like, you know, they wanted to give people an option who want to use products down there but want something more natural. So I didn't find myself really using the soap, but this one was my favorite, the mist. This is just like a freshener mist, and this would be amazing like when times are back to normal and I'm running in and out of the spin studio. Like, I need this. This is TMI. That's the whole point of this Q&A, but I've gotten yeast infections before from wearing like the same underwear that I worked out in or like wearing it all day. wearing tight clothes. So keeping this like in your work bag or in your gym bag would be awesome just to freshen up. It's also a really nice thing to do. Let's say you worked all day and you're heading out with your friends, or you're heading out on a date and you just want to like feel fresher down there, especially in the summer, you give it a spritz. I really, really like this. Now the last one, this one I was kind of like, what is the point of this? It's a natural perfume. So this, you put a few drops of it on your underwear and it's just like makes things smell good down there, I guess. Like, I don't know. You see that? I've used it a few times and it is nice. I got the rosemary scent. Is it necessary? No, but I feel like it could be something fun if you're going out on a date just to like improve your confidence or whatever. But all of these products, they did not give me like what do you call it? I did not have an adverse reaction to any of these products, and I can definitely recommend these two. So thank you so much to Illume for sponsoring this video. I hope you guys check them out. They are Canadian. I love them so, so, so much. This is an honest and genuine from the heart review. And I'm really grateful to work with them. So thank you, Illume, and thank you to you guys for supporting my channel and allowing me to work with brands that I love. Let's dive back into the questions. Okay, next question. Do you think a girl should shave everything down there? No. Of course, you can do whatever you want with your hair down there. And I think the hair down there, something I've noticed is this really comes and goes in trends. So earlier on, like I wanna say in the 90s, early 2000s, the bush was more trendy. And then there was like the vajazzle, and there was like, you know, having like a landing strip. Like there's definitely trends in what to do with your pubic hair. I know this because I was watching Sex and the City and they were talking about how they get bikini wax, but there was one episode where the girl took it all off and they were all like, oh my God. You know, some girls prefer to like do what their partner wants, but I really think it's up to you. I used to love having a little bush because I thought it looked cute because it was like the dark hair matched my dark hair. But then when I went on study abroad in Australia, I was always in a bathing suit, so I always found myself shaving it all off, and I actually found myself feeling more confident with no hair down there. Just in the same way I like to have my legs really smooth, I found I enjoyed having my Brazilian area really smooth as well. But I don't think it's a matter of should. I was traumatized when I was in high school saying that guys would like refuse to sleep with you if you had a bush, and I remember shaving off everything and then finding it really, really itchy and uncomfortable. And nobody should ever feel that way. Like, it's your body, you do what you want with it. I don't think it's for, you know, a man or another person to say what to do with your hair down there. It's all about personal preference. And you learn about personal preference by trying it, right? Like I shaved it, I hated it, and then I rarely did it after that until I ended up getting lasers. So it's really up to you. The other thing, if you do want to shave, that I would recommend is not shaving it like all the way down with like the same razor you use on your legs, but rather use a trimmer. This is what guys do, and it just makes so much more sense. Like, you don't need to shave your whole bush away, you can just trim it. And that just makes so much more sense. Like, just buy like a trimmer from wherever and then just trim your hair and keep everything looking neat, but you don't have to be bald down there. That would be my tip if you do want like a more in-between hair removal method. Okay, speaking of bushes, do you prefer a guy that is trimmed or do you like some bush? I feel like I prefer trimmed or like more closely shaved. Like a little bit doesn't, like I kind of like a little bit, like when it's like just not like the little stubbles and you can see like, oh, they just shaved, but like just a little bit, that will be my preference. Like, I personally don't like body hair on men, which I know is kind of crazy, but like I really like hairless guys. So the more hairless, the better, and like a big bush just doesn't really do it for me on a guy. But if I really liked him and he was like, this is how I like to have it, I really don't think I would care. All right, a lot of talk about bush. Okay, we'll stay on that subject with a question about laser hair removal. What are my thoughts on it? Is it worth it? TBH, not sure if I'd be doing it for me or society, LMAO. I totally get you. I totally get you, because I feel like I kind of did mine for society. It was like half myself, half society. And when I started shaving everything down there and getting laser, I felt more confident in myself. But you have to ask yourself, is the reason you feel more confident because society tells us that being bald is what is sexy, right? So did I do it for society? Does my confidence come from the toxic messages in society? Maybe, probably. It's so hard to know, but if you do want to remove your hair down there, I think laser is so worth it. You guys, I have like no hair left and it is so nice. Shaving down there sucks. It just sucks. And I'm really glad I got laser. It hurts like hell, but I'm so glad I got it. I've also gotten laser on my underarms. I barely have any hair there anymore. And on my legs, I barely have hair there anymore as well. I'm still in the process of doing all of my laser treatments, but I can't recommend it enough. It's amazing. Okay, what is your go-to remedy for painful period cramps? Hot water bottle. I wrap a hot water bottle in a towel and stick it on my stomach. That is my go-to remedy. What has been your favorite date you've ever had? Oh my gosh, that's such a cute question. That's hard. I'm thinking favorite first date, but one of my best like guy/date stories is when I went to New York with a guy who ended up being my boyfriend, but we'd only been seeing each other for like a month at this point, but we really liked each other. We went to New York City, we went out for dinner, and then we went skating on the what's it called, skating at Rockefeller Center, and he asked me to be his girlfriend as we were skating, and it was just like the cutest thing ever, like such a movie romantic New York moment. And then later that night, he got drunk and told me he loved me in Times Square. And that kind of freaked me out, but it was okay. We ended up being in love later on, and that was like really fun. So that was like an amazing date. And yeah, I don't know, I haven't really had anything that like measures up to it since. I've definitely had some really fun dates, but I find the thing with dating is like, especially if you're going out to dinner, maybe you have a few drinks, like all it takes for me is like 2 drinks, I'm tipsy, I talk so much, like I'm sure you guys could tell, like I am a talker, so I can have a good date with almost anyone because I just talk so much. So it's really on the second date that you figure out, or that I figure out like how this person is. So I'm lucky, I've had a lot of good dates, but yeah, that one takes the cake. How do you not get down about dating these days? All my friends complain about it. It's hard. Dating sucks. Like me and all my friends, well, all my single friends were just like, this sucks. How do I not get down about it? I always just remind myself that it's not personal. Like anyone who doesn't answer me, doesn't text me back, whatever, it's not about me, it's about them. And if it is about me, well, it's because they don't like me and I can't change myself. Like I'm not gonna be in a relationship, or I'm not gonna date someone who doesn't like me as I am. So that's kind of how I stay, you know, in a good mood around it. It's also hard because like I'm not really looking for anything serious right now, so it's more easy just to brush off the losses, whereas when you do feel like you want to settle down, it can be so discouraging, and like I don't even have good advice for it. The only thing is like, don't take things personally. And I do know that once you meet the right person, every single bad experience you've ever had just goes out the window, and you always say it's worth it for the fact that you found this one right person. So I try and keep that in mind as well. Oh my gosh, somebody asked me what my craziest hookup story is. I can't go into the details about that, I am not ready, but all I will say is Las Vegas. What is your take on hookups and one-night stands? Do you have them often? So I think they can be fun. Like I think that they serve a purpose, and there's kind of like this wild like party aspect. I think I've only had like 3 one-night stands in my life, and it was all when I was partying. And it's never good sex. It's never really like pleasurable. I think a lot of the times, especially for girls, it takes a relationship, not like a formal relationship, but it takes getting to know somebody and them getting to know you and what you like to really have good sex. So one-night stands, like it's just not really fulfilling in any way, but it can be fun, like to meet somebody when you're traveling or when you're out and just have like a crazy time. Like it can definitely be really fun. Just don't expect the best sex of your life. What is the worst date you've ever been on? Oh my gosh, this is such a long story, but basically I met this guy coming back from a club. It turned out that he was way older than me. He had a different job than he said he did. He was also moving cities, and like it was just so weird. He spoke French and I spoke English, and on the date he like only wanted to speak to me in English, but his English was really bad and he wouldn't let me speak in French, so it was just like really awkward. And all the places, like it was just everything about the date was like a struggle. Like we couldn't find parking, we had to go to a different restaurant and that restaurant was closing. Like we switched restaurants like 3 times. It was just awful. And I never saw him again after that date. Oh, another really bad date was when I agreed to go on a date with this guy I met on Tinder. First problem. And I agreed to go on a hike with him. So I thought it was just gonna be like a casual walk. You know, if you're from Ottawa, you know Gatineau Park. Sounds really sus, I know. I went on a hike with this guy, but it was broad daylight. So it ends up being the longest hike ever. He's totally not my vibe. Like he was nice, but he was just like super weird. Tries holding my hand. No, sir. I don't like that. Like don't, unless you're my boyfriend, please don't hold my hand. Anyways, he also like didn't like what I was wearing, and he was like, this isn't hiking appropriate. Like I'm driving you home to change, because I met up with him at a coffee shop first. It was just so weird. And yeah, so this date was in Ottawa. I live in Montreal. I was visiting my parents, and he just like kept texting me asking when he could come visit me in Montreal. And I was like, never. Okay, have you ever fallen in love with any girl or woman? What is your biggest fear? So I've never fallen in love with a girl or woman in like a romantic way. Like I love my girlfriends, and I'm really lucky to have like very deep friendships and deep love with women in my life, but it's not romantic. Camilla, when you're watching, you're gonna laugh at me. I am very straight, and sometimes I wish I wasn't. Like I wish I was more explorative with my sexuality, but I really like boys, so I've never fallen in love with a woman. Okay, we got a lot of questions about laser hair removal. So somebody asked, what hair removal methods have you tried? Which do you like best? And then someone said thoughts on laser hair removal. So laser, I answered, I really like it. And what hair removal methods have you tried? I have tried every single hair removal method under the sun. I've tried waxing. I don't like it. It hurts. It's expensive. You may as well just get laser. Shaving is obviously cheapest and easiest, but it's not the best. I've tried sugaring. It hurts. I hated it. It hurts worse than waxing. And as for like my eyebrows and stuff, I've tried threading, and I do like that, but I don't do my eyebrows anymore. Thoughts on period cups. If you can use a period cup and you like it, go for it. Like I think that's amazing. I just had a horrible experience with it. It was uncomfortable, it leaked, it smelled. Ugh, I hated it. I tried it for 2 cycles of my period and I just threw it out. I hated it. Okay, last 2 questions. How to avoid still getting in your feelings over a casual connection. I can't help it. I feel you. I get caught up and get like feelings, or what I think are deep feelings for like anyone, especially if I sleep with them. I feel like my feelings intensify. So that would be my number 1 tip, is if you don't know where things are going and you feel like you might want something deeper, do not sleep with them, okay? Don't do it. Establish what you want and where you want things to go before you sleep with someone. I feel like that's really gonna help spare your feelings a lot. And the other thing I tell myself is feelings are part of life. Like we spend so much time trying to avoid having feelings for somebody, avoid getting our feelings hurt, but that's part of the beauty of life, is experiencing heartbreak and catching feelings for someone. Like think of all the songs about heartbreak, right? Like we listen to those songs and they're beautiful and it's art, and you know, that wouldn't happen if we just guarded our heart all the time and like was super protective over our feelings. So let yourself go a little bit, let yourself feel the heartbreak and know that it will pass. Like that's what I've been trying to do, is just like let my emotions go and like stop trying to control everything, because you can't. But also don't sleep with them if you don't know where things are going. Okay, you guys, the last question. How do you handle ghosting? I am 33 and it's still painful. Getting ghosted sucks. Like I have been ghosted, I've been the ghoster, not proud of it. I even got ghosted once when the guy was on his way to come see me. Like we were supposed to meet up and he just never showed up and I never heard from him again. There's a dog paw. It sucks, but like I mentioned earlier in the video, do not take it personally. It's not about you, it's about them. And whenever somebody ghosts, it's because they're immature and they don't know what to say. It's just not about you. Like, the best dating advice that I've ever gotten, and that's what I'm currently practicing, is just don't take things personally. It's so hard when you get ghosted to be like, what did I say? What did I do wrong? But like, all you were doing was being yourself, and so you can't penalize yourself for that. Like, if you said something wrong, fuck them. And chances are it's not because you said something wrong, it's because this person is lost and confused and just doesn't know what they want. But it still sucks. So refer to the previous question too about letting yourself go in the feelings, and know that the feelings are part of life, part of dating. And one day you're gonna be in love, whether it's for a long time or just a little bit of time, and all of it will be worth it. And you'll miss those feelings of excitement of dating and like the ups and downs because you're in a stable relationship. So that's the way I look at it, and that was our last question. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed this TMI Q&A. I feel like a lot of the questions were a little bit repetitive, but there were a lot more that I had to cut out because they were just too crazy. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you want more content like this. Thank you again to Illume for sponsoring, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.